It's like the easiest way to go live. I've been doing live work, oh my goodness, for such a long time, with my different businesses over the last 10 years. I've been really, really lucky because today we're going to talk about happiness. And over the last 10 years, I have worked a lot in personal development and helping people understand how to increase happiness measurably in their brains and bodies. And so today I'm going to give you 13 things that increase happiness. A lot of people said, I really love meditation, but I don't quite get the point. And I promise you, I'm going to bring meditation and the principles and why meditation is so important into this presentation. Today, we are going to cover the 13 ways to measurably increase happiness in your life. And this is something that I'm going to be really vulnerable with you guys. Before I tell you the 13 ways to measurably increase happiness, and some of them are going to be really new and really surprising, there's two things I want to do. Number one, I want to tell you the story. Why am I doing this? Why did we run this happiness challenge? There's a very specific reason why we did it. And so I'm going to tell you an incredibly vulnerable story. And the second reason that, the second thing I want to tell you before we start is this. You're only going to remember one or two things that are really going to change your life measurably or impact your life concretely or consciously in the near future. And that's okay. A lot of people put pressure on themselves to remember everything and to do absolutely everything on this list. For me, I'm still practicing some of the things on this list, and I'll be very vulnerable about which ones they are. And then, another thing that we've learned over the course of many research and studies is this. When you listen to something, you really only retain 10%. If you want to grab a notebook, by the way, this is a piece of art from my kid. Genius, right? 5 years old. Genius. I want you to grab a notebook and try to retain up to 20 or 30% by writing down some of these tools that I'm going to give you. But if you really, really, truly want to increase your retention when you're listening to a presentation like this that's gone, dozens of books have gone into some of the research I'm going to present to you today. What I want you to do is to consider joining Belle and I in a private setting where we can teach you how to teach, these principles. We have something called a manifestation mastermind. Belle calls it a master training. That's fine. But what we do is we actually take everything you're learning here, everything in the Manifesting Secrets program, all the breath work, asana, which is movement and meditation stuff, and we teach it to you so that you can then go teach others. And then, excitingly, you retain about 90% of it. So if you're really serious about making happiness, manifestation, meditation, breath work, or even yoga your life, then let Belle and I know. We have a mastermind starting on December 1st. We have another starting January 6th. So we've always got really cool stuff going on where we can connect with and contribute to others, which is going to be one of the things on this happiness list. So with that being said, let's dive into the story. Why are we doing a happiness challenge? Why have we taken this entire week, 4 days already? Why do we take this entire week and teach you about happiness? Back in March, when my son got out of school, I hit my stride with the whole pandemic stuff. I was like, all right, I'm going to be good. I'm going to bleach my groceries. I'm going to be really diligent about, isolating and all this stuff. I'm a single mom with a 5-year-old son, and him being out of school and me isolating started to really weigh on my my sense of contentment and happiness in life. I was really, my son more than me really likes to be around other people. I'm from a really big family, and it started to really turn from I'm excited and I'm being compassionate to I'm losing my patience and compassion. Okay, we're going to talk about patience and compassion in a few minutes. By June or July, now, mind you, I'm a single self-supporting household. I had not really been able to work full-time, although my job is very, very willy-nilly in terms of hours because I'm an entrepreneur. I really hit rock bottom, and I was feeling lost, alone, really tremendously lonely. And I just missed being able to go to a yoga studio or do anything away from my sweet 5-year-old son, who cannot be left alone for 1 minute. And as it started to weigh on me, one of the things that happened was, for the first time really in years, I started to experience a little bit of depression. And I tell the story in the Manifesting Secrets area about a day that I was rock climbing, and I was, I was roped in, but I was 250 plus feet in the air. And I looked down and I was like, man, that would really make this go away fast. And it was one of those weird moments that happened in the blink of an eye. And it's important for you to know that it's okay if you've had those thoughts too, because we've been put into a situation worldwide. I'm not going to go into it, but just very briefly, from 30,000 feet, we're isolated. People, the only things they have access to, people are not able to go to their yoga studios or their fitness classes or their gyms without masks. It's psychologically really, really fucked up to put people in masks when they're healthy. It plays with your mind. I'm not saying it's not the right or compassionate thing to do. I'm saying that what it does to you psychologically is it makes you more sick. It makes you feel sick. It makes you think that you are dirty or infected in some way. Psychologically, it's really screwing people up to be in those masks, which is why I live a life where I don't go really anywhere where I have to use one, because it really, because what I teach is that you can consciously change the anatomy of your brain. It's amazing with your thoughts. But the other thing I understand is that 95% of every thought that we have is subconsciously creating the world around us. So I hope I haven't pissed anyone off with that little aside, but that story means a lot to me because I've always been the most optimistic and even, I dare say, happiest person that I know, the most compassionate, the most patient with other people, and not just due to the overreaction worldwide with this situation here with health, but also due to a lot of other really tough things that have happened over the last 2 years. There have been a few rock bottom moments for me. And so what I did, if you didn't know, I like to tell this story to the Manifesting Secret students, was what I did was I saw a series of healers and medicine men and women. I saw some neuroscientific experts. I studied with a lot of energy workers, people that work in the field of epigenetics. And I devoted my life for about 18 months to learning how to rewire the brain, because I was freaked out that I was feeling as sad, as lonely, as isolated as I was. And this is really pre-pandemic. This is more like this, I'm talking 2018 was really my rock bottom. And so what happened over the last few months of isolation and my child not being in school and working late at night to serve the people that I love in my business, it really caused me to come to Jesus with whether or not I believe everything I've been writing for the last 2 years. And so, I'm really happy to report that I'm still manifesting like a maniac, that I'm feeling really happy and really grateful in my life. I'm still seeking a lot of counsel. I still have a lot of mentors in my life. And so what I want to bring you right now are 13 ways to increase happiness that have measurably impacted my life and the lives of my students. And I want to say thank you for being here. You're going to hear a lot of really personal stories. It's not going to be super scientific today. We're going to really just set an intention right now. And so if you will, just take a deep breath with me. My intention for all of you today is that you will take simply one exciting, measurable thing out of this lecture, out of this very, very quick. I'm going to try to keep it to just, maybe 45 more minutes, keep it under an hour, because I have a client meeting at 11 anyway. But I just want you to take one thing from this lecture, from this seminar, whatever you want to call it, from this masterclass on happiness, and just focus on that one thing today. That's my intention for you. That's the intention I would like you to hold. The other thing I want to let you know is that it takes now I've worked with a lot of neuroscientific experts, between 8 and 20 weeks to rewire a single thought in your brain. So I want you to just take one thing from this incredible lot of happiness tricks, tips that I'm going to give you. And I would love if you would just practice one thing for 8 weeks. Create a mantra or an affirmation around that one thing. So one of the things that was a mantra and affirmation that I used this year for probably 3 or 4 months is this: everything always works out for me. It's very simple, but when it felt like things were crashing, as I told you back in July and August, when it felt like the whole world was crashing around me, it really measurably helped me to increase my happiness and do a 180 in my spirit, in my psyche. Instantaneous 180. It was phenomenal just to have that mantra. And as I said it over the course of 2 or 3 months, I started to believe it. Everything always works out for me. Well, now I believe it. But it took probably 3 or 4 weeks of repeating it every day, multiple times a day, for me to really, really start to believe it. And now my brain is wired to believe. Remember what I said? You can change your anatomy in your brain consciously. I consciously rewired my brain to believe that everything always works out for me. We'll talk a little bit more about that mantra and affirmation method in just a moment. But first, you're not crazy if you're not happy. Before we dive into tip number 1 to increase your happiness, I want to let you know that you're actually not crazy at all if you're not happy. In fact, what has happened is that over millions of years of survival and evolution, and yes, we are evolving, we are not devolving, despite what you see on the television. There's less war. We're making more changes in our brains. IQ is increasing every decade worldwide by 3 whole points. People are meditating more. In the Western world, over 3 times as many people are meditating now as they were even 50 years ago. Incredibly, women vote in every democracy on the planet. 100 years ago, that wasn't the case. But since New Zealand set a precedent, it only took 40 years for the rest of the world to catch up. Consciousness is evolving fast right now. Despite what you hear on the news, despite what you see from the media, we are evolving. One thing that we are evolving is our happiness, because happiness goes against the human condition, or it goes against our primal needs, desires. It goes against survival. Because let's use this example. If I'm a cave woman, and I certainly act like a cave woman sometimes, but like if I'm a cave woman and I need to survive, what do I need to do? I need to be wary. I need to be suspicious. I need to be attentive to the world around me as opposed to within me. I need to be cautious, watch where I go, watch what I eat, and interestingly enough, our ancestors who were happy were probably dumb. They didn't survive. They didn't survive very long at all. Our ancestors who survived were fundamentally the most responsive. They were fundamentally the least happy, the least relaxed, the most alert, aware, and even stressed out. Stress is one of those things that people like to piss on and badmouth. A little bit of stress is okay. A little bit of stress is good. I have a little bit of stress today because I'm doing a half-day consulting session with a client, and I want to kick ass, and I want it to be great, and I want him to walk away with an incredible, clear plan for manifesting money and prosperity. And so I have a little bit of stress, a little tension in my tummy. I'm like, oh, I really want to help this man out. And I have faith that I will, but still there's something that causes me to prepare and to write notes. It's, a little bit of stress keeps you prepared. But ultimately, the stressed out state of there could be a tiger around every corner is how we have evolved as a species to be stressed out. And even though right now I'm sitting in Aspen, Colorado, and it's beautiful and the blue skies are coming and the sun's coming out and we got a dusting of snow today and I have everything I could possibly want to eat or drink or keep myself warm, I could sit here and get into a swivel and get into a mind space of stress. And it's not because I'm crazy or mentally impaired or psychologically impaired. It's not even necessarily because of past traumas, although all those things have to play into it. But ultimately, we have evolved as a species to be stressed out. Even in the middle of a perfect Saturday where I have everything I could ever want to be happy. And I'm living in the most beautiful place on earth. I could find things to make me absolutely miserable if I wanted to. I'm not gonna. So what keeps you safe, or what kept us safe, didn't keep us happy. And so now 4 billion years into evolution, we find that we have the luxury of being more happy. Well, now being happy is such a pressure, we have such pressure to be happy that it's making us even more unhappy. Well, what's wrong with you? You have everything you want. Well, what's wrong? Why aren't you happy? You have everything you could need. Happiness is not easy. Happiness is something that that is so complex. There's so many chemical reactions. There's so many brain functions. There's so much anatomy involved. And there's so much swimming against or pushing against happiness from a primal perspective. So let's talk about the 13 things that we have the luxury of paying attention to in order to be more happy in our lives. Because I practice these happiness tools every day in some form every week. I'm not going to use many notes, but I will periodically look over at my phone where I just have an outline of the 13 things because I don't want to forget anything. In fact, I can guarantee you that I'm going to add a couple on right now that God put on my heart this morning when I was having a little meditative drive up the valley, the Aspen Valley. So number one, everybody, the number one thing that's going to measurably increase your happiness, and this is a pretty shocking one, but it's one that I teach in my Manifesting Secrets program. And this is going to initiate such an incredible, almost euphoric feeling. You're going to feel the energy of this when you start to do it. It's novelty. Doing something new triggers something called neurogenesis. That's the building of new nerve cells to replace old patterns. The writer, Dr. Caroline Leaf, says in the book Switch on Your Brain, she's a neuroscientist, she says, when the Bible said that God's mercies are new every morning, she said, I think that the Bible was talking about neurogenesis, which I think is interesting and a fascinating theory about neurogenesis. But neurogenesis keeps our brains evolving in the direction we want to evolve. Do you want to be more happy? Do you want to be more patient? Do you want to be more sexual? Do you want to be more confident? What do you want in your life? Neurogenesis, the ability to create new nerve cells, the ability to enhance the anatomy, to enhance the brain, helps us to create new pathways to what we want. Okay, so maybe, like me, you have not traditionally been the most confident person. Now I'm overly confident, perhaps, but I'm very confident now. But I mean, I didn't grow up this way. Quite the opposite. I struggled with eating disorders and negative self-talk and self-hatred and low self-worth for years, decades. Do you want to be more confident? Do you want to be more patient? Patience is like the key to happiness and wealth. We'll talk about it in a minute. Do you want to be more patient? I have a patience muse. It's my grandpa Jerry. Now it's Bell Carpenter. He's probably my patience muse now because I see him more often than my grandpa Jerry. Do you want to be more wealthy? Wealth, obviously, if you've seen anything that's consistent among billionaires, millionaires, wealthy people, you know, top tier, comfortable financially, it's mindset. It's the I can. It's the I'm going to. It's that confidence to create money. It's the most consistent thing among all wealthy people. So how do we rewire the mind to that end goal that we want? One of the ways that we do that to increase our manifestation and happiness is something called novelty. Doing something new. There's a few different tips I'm going to give you to do something new. Here's the first one. This is going to sound really weird. Today, as you go about your house and you're making your coffee, or when you drive to work, or when you grab a coffee cup, or when you grab a coffee pot, or when you open the microwave, if you use microwaves, whatever you do in your house, in your world, try to do it with the opposite hand. You know, when I hike up something that's really steep, I like to hike with my non-dominant leg first. And it makes me kind of stumble. It makes me kind of insecure on the rocks. I do something new. I play with the left and right hemispheres of my brain. I switch it up from the left to the right hemisphere. Another thing to do something new, this is going to sound incredibly weird. Clean your house. Not just any clean, but rearrange stuff. Put a chair in a different place. You know, put your couch on the opposite side. Completely, you know, put your bookshelves on different walls. Switch up the order of the books. Right now, my books are all color coded. It's annoying. I can't find anything, but it looks really good. Do something new in your house environment. When you do something new, when you move somewhere new, when you go on a vacation, when you know, I'm going to take a trip out to the desert with my son in a couple weeks. And I'm going to go to Chicago in 10 days or so. Wow, like 8 days. I was just in Austin, Texas. Go into a new environment. This is going to help you get out of your old patterns and routines. This is going to trigger neurogenesis. This is going to trigger a surprise alert in your brain, but not like a red alert, beep, 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 the amygdala is going off and you're going to cause a stress reaction or cortisol or whatever. No, no, no. Doing something new actually helps all the energy in your body to shift toward a new reality. And even though it's not directly manifesting confidence, patience, wealth, love, money, whatever, it's not consciously manifesting one specific thing. What it does is it primes your brain for manifestation. Move your art around the walls is something I find myself doing quite a bit. But do something new, especially if it's going to a new place. Get out of your routine. When you bust out of your routine, even take a new direction to work, this is going to help your brain start to say, uh-oh, I don't have to be in the same subconscious program or pattern all day, every day. I can do new things, and you can let your brain know it's safe to do new things. It's safe to manifest a new reality. It's safe to be more patient. It's safe to be more wealthy, even though you got this far being impatient, maybe a little bit unwise with your finances. Maybe you got this far blowing up your relationships or verbally assaulting random people, which was a huge thing that I worked on to get over, was just my ability to, oh man, I was like a live wire. Maybe it got you this far, and so your brain thinks it's safe to be in scarcity. It's safe to be in limiting beliefs. It got you this far. You survived this far with your negative patterns. So when you start to gently introduce new things into your life, your brain knows that it's safe to do something new. It's safe to be more abundant. It's safe to be more wealthy. It's safe to be more kind and compassionate and loving and even peaceful. Because remember, 4 billion years of evolution says peace is not okay. If you're peaceful, you're going to get eaten by a tiger. That's what we're here this week in the Happiness Challenge working against. We're working against the idea that to be peaceful is to get eaten by a tiger. I'm not overreacting. Our brains are nuts. Our brains are so nuts that when you have a to-do list, I have a to-do list sitting right in front of me. Ironically, that was really weird. I have a to-do list for all the things I was bringing over to a sleepover I had with a friend. And you know, it's like bring the hot peppers and the sriracha and whatever else, the cilantro out of the fridge. Bring your shoes, bring your hiking gear, whatever. To-do lists in some people who've not trained their brains can bring you as much stress as an injury or a car accident. Okay, even though you feel like you're not shaking, to-do lists can literally shake your brain up and cause that red alert as much as if there were a tiger behind you that wanted to eat you. So it's really interesting in Manifesting Secrets when I start to work with people to identify the things that they don't realize are completely blocking their ability to manifest. So how do we deal with that? For all of you taking notes, thank you for your comments. For all of you taking notes, how do we deal with that? Number one, we increase our happiness when we increase novelty. Do things differently, get into a new environment, do things with the opposite leg, hand, eye than you usually do it. This increases neurogenesis and it helps the left and right hemispheres of our brain to coordinate more. Your masculine and your feminine, it creates harmony in the brain. Number two, make events neutral. First time I heard someone say that, I was like, well, you're an asshole because some things hurt worse than others and there really are bad things that happen. My kid falls down and get a boo-boo. That's not a neutral event. That makes me upset. Makes me really upset when a kid pushes him on the park. That's not a neutral event. That brings out my mama bear. What I mean by make events neutral is that when something happens, our primal response is to react. The blood rushes in to your arms, your legs, your hands, your feet, and you're ready to fight. And once again, the to-do list does this as much as some bully pushing your kid on the playground. You react. When you react, all of your blood moves to your arms and legs and away from the organs that are keeping you alive and healthy and digesting. What happens is in your brain, you have an alert that goes off triggered by the amygdala. When an event happens, we are wired to react and go into something called the sympathetic nervous state. That's the trauma response state. If you're living in a trauma response state, you're going to live a life of more stress, more anxiety, and absolutely almost zero chance, I dare say zero chance for manifestation or neuroplasticity, which is changing your brain with mental intention. Because you're in a state of reactivity, of self-protection. You're not resting, you're not healing, you're not growing, you're not learning. You're in that sympathetic nervous state, and some people are in that sympathetic nervous state all day, and they go to bed at night and they're so wiped out they can barely even see straight. And they snap at the dog, they snap at the spouse, they snap at the kid. They're on edge, they're on high alert. As we start to make events neutral and respond versus react, one of my favorite quotes, Byron Katie once said that when she believed her thoughts, she suffered. When she did not believe her thoughts, she did not suffer. When something bad happens, our temptation often is to think, oh man, this is the end of the world. Yesterday, I found out my kid is no longer in school. He only had 2 weeks of school, maybe not even. I'll tell you some words and some thoughts came to my mind. And I screamed for a minute. I let out some emotion. And the temptation was to think, this is going to screw my business. This is going to screw my son. This is going to screw up our lives, yada, yada. All these thoughts rushed into my brain. And so I sat in the middle of my friend's living room floor and I took some deep breaths. And I chose not to believe those thoughts. And then I returned to the mantra, everything always works out for me. And I believe that my kid will be more strong, more compassionate, more loving because he's getting all this extra time with his mom away from school. And I believe that maybe instead of finding the community at school, maybe we will nourish more of a soul tribe for him. Do you see how I'm making the event neutral? I don't want to react, respond, believe the negative things that come in my head, but rather I just want to believe that I don't even need to respond or react, that everything is going to work out, that God does have a plan, or the universe does have a plan for my son and myself and for all these other kids that are not going to be in school this week and God knows how long. For all the businesses that are shutting down and closing their doors or trying to fit, a 25% capacity and try to pay their rent or their mortgage. How do we make events like that neutral? How do we stay grounded and even happy when it looks like there's so much suffering around us? I'm going to tell you, I have 11 ways to do it. So let's move into number 3. The third thing, and I specifically wanted to talk about this after I talked about making events neutral. The third thing that we can do to measurably increase our happiness is to get rid of victim mentality. Because when we play victim, when the thought came to me, oh my God, my kid's out of school, what am I going to do, yada, yada. When we play victim, we give away our power and we say, I am a slave or a servant to the stuff that goes on around me. As opposed to being in control of the world around me, being empowered to make good decisions, regardless of what any school administration or a Mad Hatter government in Colorado and California and so many other places, God forbid, Illinois, no matter what's going on around me, I understand that there's a man behind the curtain or a source or an energy or a God or a goddess behind the curtain who's holding my hand and helping me to evolve through it. What if you stopped playing victim and gave yourself permission to make events neutral? What if you gave yourself permission to call in or to intend, to set an intention and then receive what you want? And to stop believing that the world or the government or the administration or your spouse or your kids are trying to take it away from you? What if you stopped playing small? When we have a victim mentality, we tend to not invest in ourselves because we're victims, because we're at the mercy of the world around us. What's the point of investing 5, 10, 15 grand this year in personal development, which any successful person is going to invest 10% back into themselves? What would we do if we gave ourselves permission to be powerful and to manifest no matter what's going on around us? Number 3, victim mentality. Just remember this. I choose not to play victim. I choose to have personal power, to reclaim, to enjoy, to play in, to reign in my personal power no matter what goes on around me. Number 4, how to measurably increase happiness. We're going to talk about meditation, and I could talk about meditation for 1,000 years, but instead I want to direct you to the Manifesting Secrets Facebook page, where we have 4 meditations we recorded just this week. We're recording this on 11/11/2020, and we've had some amazing meditations the last 4 days. But just very quickly, why do we meditate? When I found out that the kids are going to be out of school again, why did I run to the middle of the living room floor and take some deep breaths and hold my hands out and breathe and close my eyes? Why did I meditate instead of send a bunch of emails, furiously cussing people out and accusing people? Why didn't I just continue screaming and playing victim? The ultimate way to make events neutral, as we talked about in happiness tip number 1, the ultimate way to make events neutral is to meditate and to remain in calm awareness about the things around us. Meditation is so incredible. It decreases your stress. It measurably increases your happiness. What's really interesting is that stress doesn't just kill brain cells, it really kills the body as well. It kills relationships, it kills prosperity, it kills any good plan or intention you have. And the best way to reduce stress is meditation. It's really common for humans to look outside themselves to meet their needs. The really neat thing about meditation is that you ground into yourself and you realize slowly that you meet your own needs. And that's such a special, wonderful place to be. One of the ways that I like to, and I have a lot of meditation training I'm not going to go into today. With my Manifesting Secrets students, we do 3 full weeks of meditation training in the Manifesting Secrets program. But I just want to give you this one thing right now. If you're meditating and you feel like you're not doing it right, I haven't talked about shame in this presentation. I perhaps will another time. If you meditate and you feel like you're not doing it right, I have very good news for you. You're doing it right just by trying. And that's because when you meditate, you typically go through 4 phases. Here they are. You focus, okay? And then your mind wanders, typically, unless, you're like this Tibetan monk and you've been meditating for, 10,000 hours and you've got your brain, instant ecstasy. For the rest of us, you focus on meditation. I start my meditation by simply closing my eyes, focusing right here in the middle of my brow, or focusing kind of up here. Maybe I'll see a glow or an orb above my head. But anyway, you focus, then your mind wanders, if you're like 99% of us. And then you realize your mind wanders. And this is the critical moment. What do you do when your mind wanders? Do you give up? Do you play victim and you say, no, I've had a hard day, I can't sit and meditate. No, I've got too much on my to-do list, I can't meditate. Or do you notice that your mind is wandering? Oh, wow, I'm distracted. And then do you shift your attention back into meditation? I'm distracted, I've got a lot going on. I've got a busy day ahead of me. However, I'm going to stay focused for at least 5 minutes today on my breath, or on the gold orb above my head, or on the green meadow I'm walking in, or however you meditate. There's a million beautiful ways. Or on my heartbeat. That's it. There's 4 things you do when you meditate. You focus, you get distracted, you realize you're distracted, and then you shift your attention. And so many people don't meditate because they think, oh, when I get distracted or when I am consciously aware that I'm distracted, I'm doing it wrong. On the contrary, what researchers have found is that when you make that shift, step 4, when you make that shift, focus, mind wander, self-awareness, and then shift. When you shift back into awareness, that is the moment when you're actually increasing the happiness in your brain, when you're reducing the stress. It's incredible. Yes, you can reach ecstatic states when you meditate, but the real neurological rewiring, the real anatomical changes happen actually when you shift your attention. and you go back to focusing. And so if you feel like, oh my God, I'm not in this great, blissful, ecstatic state when I meditate because I'm constantly going through this focus, mind wander, awareness, shift, focus, mind wander, awareness, shift, focus, mind wander, awareness, shift, you're doing it right. And as you practice, you'll get a little bit less of the focus, mind wander, awareness, shift routine and into a little bit more effortless, ecstatic states. Breath work is something I combine with meditation, and it's number 5 of the 13 things that we can do to increase happiness, because breath work, it is the most underrated way to increase health and happiness on the planet. It literally can save lives. I know a woman who's in the Manifesting Secrets program, is one of our neuroscientific experts. She had a friend that was having a heart attack, and she simply walked him through some breath work. And all of a sudden, the blood left his arms and his legs because he was feeling anxiety and stress, and went back into his internal organs where he could heal, where he could grow, where his body could meet his needs. And it's just such a beautiful story, and she tells it on camera in module 9 of the Manifesting Secrets program. When we breathe, there's a really good way to breathe. There's a lot of really good ways to breathe to help increase your happiness, to help you get out of that stress state, to help you find more peace, love, contentment, and compassion in your lives. Here are a few ways that I like to do it. We have, I think, 14 different breathing exercises in Manifesting Secrets and Brain Flow. My favorite thing to do before I go into meditation is simply drop my tongue from the roof of my mouth, just drop my tongue to the bottom of my mouth. This almost instantaneously will trigger your vagus nerve, which is going to help you be in that parasympathetic or rest and digest state. So I like to drop my tongue into the bottom of my mouth and simply breathe in and out through my nose. You can use breath work to do a lot of different things. You can use breath work to be smarter before I go on meetings, before I get into presentations like this, before I have client calls. I do what's called Nadi Shodhana, which is alternate nostril breathing. When I just want to decrease stress, I like to do a warrior's breath where I inhale maybe for 6 counts and then exhale maybe for 8 counts. Or I like to do a 4-7-8 breath where you inhale for 4 beats of my heart, hold it for 7 beats of my heart, and then exhale for 8 beats of my heart. I do that every single day of my life, actually. But the neat thing about breath work is it slows time down for you. It actually triggers your body to relax. It triggers your organs to function more efficiently. It triggers digestion. If you're having problems with digestion, you might have a problem with breathing. You probably have a problem with stress. It helps you sleep better if you do breath work before bed. I wrote down 25,000 things, and I haven't even looked at the list because I'm just going based off all the stuff that engaging breathing exercises every day of my life has done for me. My sleep is out of control good. I have very good sleep. So try a 4-7-8, a warrior's breath, or alternate nostril breathing. Breathe in one side, breathe out another side. And that also helps the left and right hemispheres of your brain to work in harmony with one another. Your masculine and your feminine, your logical and your creative brains. And that's why I do it before I ever get on a meeting, because at once I want to be delivering high-level strategies to my clients for manifesting what they want. And on the other hand, I want to be creative while I'm doing it. So I do a lot of alternate nostril breathing. Another thing you can do to engage the left and right hemispheres of your brain is to cross your body and to maybe stroke your arms, to cross your body and maybe touch your toes. Okay, so crossing the body is also going to help harmonize the left and right hemispheres of your brain. What's beautiful about Manifesting Secrets is we're talking about the science of manifestation. And the beautiful thing about it is a lot of it is so simple. It's almost unbelievable. A lot of these 13 things I'm giving you today are so simple you can hardly even believe it. But the good news is that means you can do it. Anyone can do it. Number 6, the 6th thing I want you to do to increase happiness is to move. My preference is yoga. Why? Yoga can be very gentle and restorative. Yoga engages the left and right hemispheres of your brain. It helps you stay healthier because it helps you to balance. It increases digestion when you're doing twisting moves, when you're doing side bends. Oh my God, I love side bends. Oh, that's going to help you lubricate the spine. It's going to help decrease the stress in your life. It's going to help you. It's going to help you in meditation to sit still for longer when you've got good spine health. Movement is one of the most powerful ways to manifest. Here's the thing. If you want to manifest or change your brain or reprogram or rewire your brain, you need 3 things. You need to engage the executive functions of your brain, which are your auditory, what you hear, your visual, what you see, and your kinesthetic, what you do. So what I want you to do is, if you're not manifesting in your life, I would encourage you to set intentions while you're moving your body. If you feel like you're stuck and I could go on and on about this, but for people in Manifesting Secrets, you're going to see these in some of the chakra chapters. If you're not manifesting, if you're stuck in your life, if you're stuck with an illness or a heart problem or whatever, a lot of times it's because you're not moving your body effectively. When we move our bodies effectively, and I personally believe the best way is through yoga, Tai Chi or Qigong, if you do some of these intentional movement exercises. I'm just talking about yoga because it's what I know the best, and it's the most common. It's efficient as hell too. Yoga actually helps to clear or energize energy centers in the body where we have stuck trauma. When I started doing yoga, I started to heal past trauma from my childhood. I started to open up my heart and my throat chakras. Chakras are simply energy centers. Don't worry. Don't be scared of the word chakra. It's not like something you have to be super, super woo to understand. If you want to understand the science behind the chakras, I want you to read Eastern Body, Western Mind, or Wheels of Life by Anadia Judith, because she's brilliant. The 7th, so movement is number 6. Number 7 is confidence training. If you want to increase your happiness, increasing your confidence, really understanding how amazing and how divine that you are. The best way to increase your confidence is to spend time with someone who's breathing life into you, another confident person. Where are you going to find a confident person in your life? I think one of the best thing to do is to have a confidence mentor, someone who's going to get a hawkeye view of your genius. The other thing for confidence training that I love, and it's going to be number 8 in the ways to increase happiness. Number 8 is mantra. I would love for you to repeat some simple mantras or affirmations every single day to help increase your confidence. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am radiant. My smile is like sunshine. These are a few different things you can repeat every day to help you be more confident. The other thing I want you to do if you want to increase your confidence is in your Manifesting Secrets program. If you're in there, the confidence affirmations, say those every day. Confidence is a muscle that must be exercised. And one of the best ways to increase confidence is to do new things with faith or with belief that you're going to succeed. The best way to increase confidence is to train your confidence muscle. Your confidence muscle, I have to get my computer charger because I was just having a sleepover with a friend And I don't know where I left my computer charger, but I'll find it. The best way to increase your confidence muscle is to work it out. The best way to work it out is through mantra affirmation and mentorship. If you haven't learned how to be confident, find someone who's going to help you and train you to be more confident. Next, number 9, know your life's purpose. I'm not going to go into this one, but what I will say is that scientists, and most specifically Dr. Dawson Church, has an incredible theory about how knowing your life's purpose will help to increase your happiness in life. And why is that? Because humans were designed to live with purpose. When we don't have purpose, when we don't love what we do, when we don't love, for instance, our job, when we don't love, for instance, I guess our profession or the spirit or the energy that we're bringing, if every day we feel like we're just doing something that we have to do to make money, if we don't feel deeply satisfied and enriched by our work, if we don't understand that we were built for a purpose, which is going to increase your confidence, you don't feel like there's a reason to live. If you don't have a why, what's the point of getting out of bed? So instead of going into the confidence training today, what I'm going to do instead is to encourage you all to head into the Manifesting Secrets or Brainful members or Facebook pages right now, because I just posted a 7 steps to finding your life's purpose video for all of you. And if you want the entire seven steps training, you can find it on Amazon. I think it's free with Kindle. So 7 steps to finding your life's purpose. If you don't know your life's purpose, it can be hard to get out of bed when shit hits the fan. Knowing that you were created for a purpose and what that purpose is measurably increases your happiness. And that's number 9. Number 10, surrender. I talk about surrender a lot. The best books, The Surrender Experiment is one incredible book, or Letting Go by Dr. David Hawkins is really incredible. But what happens is this: when you resist the flow of life, when you resist things around you, they persist. When you resist the things you don't want, you're drawing more attention and energy toward the things you don't want. When we surrender, what's really interesting is that we don't have to work as hard. You can completely rewire the mind for happiness when you realize that I don't have to work as hard. I don't have to suffer. Struggle is not necessary. Because the truth is that struggle is not necessary. And it is remarkably easy, theoretically, to create less struggle in your life. It takes some practice, though. Surrender is simply saying, I choose not to react to everything around me. I choose to allow the flow of life around me and remain in conscious awareness even when things are not the way that I planned. I would never have planned for my son to be out of school again only 2 weeks after they started. But I surrendered. I called 3 friends, and one of them had the best idea ever, that I can double my income in December, quadruple my income in December, because I surrendered and I said, I'm not going to feel stressed, and I'm not going to go to bed, and I'm not going to whine and hit a pillow, but I'm going to allow this to happen, and I'm going to be really, really smart, and I'm going to make it work out for me. Because remember my mantra this summer, everything works out for me. One of the best ways to surrender for me, one of the best ways to increase happiness is mindfulness practices, savoring every moment in gratitude. One of my favorite mindfulness practices is to go on a trail and to look at every single rock and tree and marking in the trees and the leaves and the branches to focus my attention far away and then closer. What's really neat is that when we are mindful, when we notice the things around us and name the things around us and really remain conscious or mindful of the things around us, it shrinks the amygdala, which is the brain's alert center, which is the thing that's probably getting you unhappy or off track in the first place. Mindfulness practices can be as simple as standing on your floor in your living room and like noticing the carpet and noticing the feel under your feet and playing around and moving your balance from one foot to another or from the ball of your foot to the heel. Mindfulness can be that simple. You don't have to be living 8,000 feet in the air like me looking at beautiful mountains, although it does help significantly. And the 13th thing that I want to talk about today is connecting with and contributing to others with compassion. Arguably, the number one thing you can do for happiness in your life is to connect with and contribute to others with compassion. There's a few reasons why. So there was a study done of 200,000 adults over 136 nations. I learned about it in the book Switch On by Nick Seneca-Jankel, but I originally read about it in Conscious Lifestyle magazine a long time ago. Connecting with and contributing to others is the number one factor to increase happiness. It's why people lose cognitive function when they lose community. It's why people kind of rot away when they're older and they don't have a lot of people around them. Being social keeps the brain healthy and the body healthy. What's really interesting is that there have been so many studies on happiness. I just mentioned one that was 200,000 people, but there was another one that was 308,849 people, showing that there was a 50% stronger increase in survival. So how does your body thrive when you connect with and contribute to others? One of the reasons that people don't connect with and contribute to others as they get older is some people become bitter. They lose their sense of compassion. Connecting with and contributing to others is the most incredible, fastest way to be present in this moment. How many times have you talked to people and you completely lose track of time? I do it all the time. Last night, Belle and I were like, oh, let's just be lethargic and like watch a movie, which for us is like a documentary, right? So we picked a documentary and we ended up talking, and then we look at the clock and it's 11:11 at night. And I'm like, we said at 8 o'clock that we were going to sit and decompress tonight, and we still ended up talking all night. and we talked the whole night away. Connecting and contributing to others is one of the best ways to be in the present moment, which really measurably decreases stress and increases happiness. You can smoke or drink or be obese. I don't want you to do any of those things. But you could do a lot of things to hurt your health. But the worst thing you could do for your health is to lack connection and community, which is why right now is the most critical time in the world for us to resist the temptation, even the regulation, to isolate ourselves. Am I telling you to go against the law? No, I've got a Mad Hatter government who wants us to not even have Thanksgiving with our families. You see how I breathed into that? And I know he's doing his best. So if you can't go be with your families, Thanksgiving, for instance, is coming up at the time of this recording. Connect on Facebook to people. Connect on Zoom. Call people on the phone. Connect and contribute to your neighbors. Bake cookies and bring them to everyone in your apartment building. Hunter and we bring cookies to everybody. You know, let them sit outside for 24 hours if people think they're going to get sick from them. What I want you to know is that your next step in being happy is to contribute to the world around you. And the best way to contribute to the world around you is going to be connecting with them. And even if you can't connect in person or you won't connect in person, connect with people, look in their eyes, get on Zoom, find a mentor, find a wealth coach, a business coach, a manifestation coach, a sex coach, whatever. But connecting with others is your best way to increase happiness. And when you can contribute, when you can learn something that then you can go teach others. So that's what I do for a living, is I teach people manifesting secrets and brain flow yoga so that then they can go run their own small groups and contribute to the world in that way. Connecting with and contributing to others is the number one way to increase happiness among at least 508,845 participants that have been in the studies that I've been looking at. Increases your health, increases survival more than anything else. If you want to measurably impact and connect with others, please, please, please join a mastermind for brain flow and manifesting secrets. Connect with others, learn the material that I'm teaching you today so that you can then go teach others. It's really easy. What I'm going to do, I'm going to give you a book. I'm going to walk you through the material in just 8 weeks, and then you're going to go teach it to others. It's the most incredible, not only is it the most incredible thing to help you really ameliorate or improve other people's lives, it increases your own happiness and intelligence, but it's also one of the most amazing ways to fulfill a life's purpose that you may have always longed to fulfill on the planet. Please, please, email, Facebook message, Instagram, wherever you found me first, find me there again, and let me know how I can bless you on your happiness journey. Again, today we covered 13 ways to measurably increase your happiness. Some of them you've heard before, some of them you've never heard before. I could have gone on for 2 hours about every single one and told you so many stories. I decided to go relatively quickly today. If this video has blessed you, please, I invite you to share it with everyone you want. I love you guys, and I hope that you have a beautiful and very happy day.